One of the key concepts I want to introduce to you called AI SuperSelf. AI is fantastic by itself, but when the human being gets in the mix, that's where it really gets interesting, right? You got the human being, that's you, me, everybody else on this call, and you add in the 1000X playbook, which I'm going to be going over some of the fundamentals tonight. You add the AI to that, and that's how you get the AI superself. So really fantastic, simple concept of where you take your life experiences, all the things that you are, and you add that to the AI so you become irreplaceable. And when I say irreplaceable, I'm talking about whether you work for a company or a corporation and they ask you a question and you can give them back comprehensive answer in 5 minutes, makes you look like a genius, and you become irreplaceable to that company you're working for. Or flip it around and you have your own thing, your own business, you're a solopreneur, you got a medium-sized company, and you're able to turn around that workload that used to take you a week in a day, in a couple of hours. That's how AI can make you and your organization that concept of AI super self. We're going to touch on all of these things. To get started, I'm going to jump into what we call the create method. And it's just foundational in the sense that some people call it power prompts, super prompts. It's just making sure that you have a framework so that you can pick up in any conversation and get what you want. So let's start at the beginning. First thing you need to do is create what's called the context. So this is where you tell the AI who you want it to be in this particular conversation. Perfect. So you could say, all right, you are a world-class, best-selling Amazon author, and I want you to do this. You are an attorney or a lawyer, and I want you to help me craft an agreement between such and such and such and such. You can say you are a world-class marketer. I want 10 Facebook ads with this type of content for this purpose. You can say you are a sales manager. Create a sales forecast for Q1 through Q2, and here are the parameters. So you invite that specialist, that expert into the conversation. And it can be anybody in history, anybody contemporary. You can invite that individual to the table so that you can have a conversation with them or have the AI act as that individual based on everything that it knows and then apply it across to everything else. Now we have the particular expert or whoever it is that you want to sit down with, whether it's a life coach, it doesn't matter. Any context, any person. And what's nice is you can actually pick specific names of people. I want you to help me write 10 marketing emails. I want you to help me write an outline for a book I'm doing. I want you to help me design the website. What's really fun about AI these days is not only can it provide content for your website, it can actually help you write the code, the coding to develop that website. So it's amazing what these tools can do these days. I want a script that I'm going to use to create a video. I want an agreement, a contract in the state of Georgia between this type of entity, that type of entity. I want a marketing plan. So it doesn't matter, whatever it is that you can imagine or you need, you can ask the AI to help you do that. And that's where you specifically describe the result. And then the next thing you do is you start breaking down that explanation, making it even more specific, even clearer. I want you to give me detail, concepts and structures for this. I want you to summarize, right? So you can go either way. I want you to compare and contrast these two things. I do that all the time. If I have two different ideas, here's 5 marketing ideas, compare and contrast, right? You can critique. Let's say you do get that book started. You can have it come in as a Amazon world-class editor now. So you flip it a little bit and have the editor critique your book that you've just written. It can analyze data. It can convert. Earlier today, I was converting an image from size from pixels to inches. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. But my point is conversions and things like that, very easy for it to do. So all of those types of things, real world examples that you can use AI to help you every day. I use AI all of the time, obviously. So I'm kind of biased in that sense. Audience, this is extremely important. This is where you tell the AI who the content you're creating or whatever it is that you're creating is targeted towards. So let's say you have a website and you're developing content for business owners, or you're writing a book for women about such and such a subject. You are creating a book for teenagers, children. I have a lot of people that use this to create books to write their, a children book for their child. It's absolutely amazing what you can create, including the images and all the content for the story for any of these types of books. The key thing here is make sure whatever you're creating actually fits who you're speaking to. There's this whole concept of creating an avatar in marketing and in storytelling where you're writing the book towards a specific type of target. And so you want to make sure the content you're creating, make sure it's digestible by your target audience. So if you're doing a website, remember that old show, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? A lot of times I'll tell it specifically, hey, write this content so that it can be understood by a fifth grader or a high school level so that it is easily understood by your target audience. If you're writing a technical white paper, okay, yes, you do want to step up that audience. Generally speaking, if you're just creating normalized content for everybody, you want to kind of bring it down to the lowest common denominator so people can understand what you're posting in your blog or writing content for Facebook or LinkedIn. Then you can set the tone. Is it sales content? Do you want to be persuasive? Is it serious or informative? Is it, conversational, light, entertaining, right? Friendly, inspirational. You're writing a book on a diet book and you want people to read the book and get inspired to go lose weight. It could be inspirational in the sense of religious, content that you're creating. So again, the tone, humorous. I would say AI, kind of give it a dad joke level, but it does know every comedian that has publicly available content out there. So you can say, I want the humor in the style of Kevin Hart, or I want the comedy in any style, and you can say, give me that, and so it knows that style, and it'll give you content in that style. So this is kind of how that works. There's emotional, there's analytical. Once it gives you that first pass, you can tell it that paragraph looks good. Now I need you to expand it a little bit more. Iterate. AI is absolutely fantastic for the concept of iteration. In other words, it never gets tired. It knows everything, generally speaking. People have said it has an IQ of like 162 at this stage. I don't know. But the point I'm making is it never gets tired. So every time you start something and he's like, okay, that's close, but let's try this. Let's expand it. Let's, make it simpler to understand. Let's modify it in this way. Let's add, let's delete, revise, rewrite, summarize. Sometimes AI can speak too much. And you say, hey, okay, simplify it, make it easier to understand, reorganize it. So let's say it gives you a whole bunch of numbers and information. You can say, okay, rewrite this in the form of a table or Excel spreadsheet ready, a Word document. You can tell it how you want it. So you can go back around again and get it a slightly different way, right? Let's say we do a prompt. I want you to act as an author. You're a world-class author from Amazon. You're going to help me write an outline for a book summarizing all the way business owners can use the BuildBiz.ai platform to make money, right? Make it inspirational. So a prompt might look something like this. You are a New York Times best-selling author, the context. Write a chapter by chapter outline for a book, right? Specifically what I want as a result, summarizing. That's the explanation. I don't need the whole thing. 5 steps business owners can take to learn AI using BuildBiz.ai so they can increase sales and grow revenue in record time. Write this in an inspirational tone. So those are all the elements of that prompt. And so let's go ahead and get into some real world examples. Let's crank up a prompt here. I'm using a little Chrome extension so I can speak to it. I could also use voice mode here in ChatGPT. This is where you can have a conversation with ChatGPT. I'm using ChatGPT just to start so you can kind of see how I'm going to play with a lot of different AI tools just so you can kind of see that some of the slight differences. I'm using the tool here. It's an extension, voice in, and as I speak, it captures the text. You are a New York Times best-selling author. Write a chapter by chapter outline for a book summarizing the 5 steps business owners can take to learn AI using the BuildBiz.ai platform so that they can increase sales and grow revenue in record time. Write this in an inspirational tone. And go. So we're just going to let that run. And so you can see what it's doing. The 5 steps to mastering AI. How business owners, so it's very literal to a certain point, to skyrocket sales and revenue in record time. So that's the title of the book. Too long for a book, but that's okay. We'll get back to that in a second. Introduction. Why you need an AI more than ever. Key themes, right? So this is the outline. So we've kind of got the outline and put together. Usually it's 10 chapters if you just ask it to go. Okay, did 7 chapters and a conclusion and bonus content, right? So from here, the next step would be, and so we're going to, let's get that first chapter done. And instead of writing that all out, or even with my voice, I'm going to just copy paste for the sense of speed. You are a world-class author. Again, setting the context. I want you to write a comprehensive first chapter. You can give it that, and then here's where I gave an example of a tone of a person. Gillian Perkins, you don't know her, that's okay. She's just a YouTuber. I just happen to like the tone of the content she puts out. So again, you have somebody that you follow or you like how they write on the internet or produce content on the internet. You can, if they're famous, you can have them reach out and write this in first chapter in that style, right? Chapter 1, and it's starting to break it out and write it all out for you. They keep adding new features and functions of how they do things. So now the way that they break it down, the chat itself is on the left, and then the content that is delivering is on the right. Starting a new business is exhilarating, isn't it? You have this incredible idea, something you're sure will make an impact, solve problems, but then reality sets in, right? So you can kind of jump around here, but I think you see the concept. It's writing a pretty decent book. So how do you go from decent to great? Simple. You edit this content that it's creating and add the human experiences. So you should, if you're going to write a book, write about something you know, so that you're going to bring in your expertise, your knowledge, your sense of humor, all of those things. And that's what's going to make it a great book. And that's what makes great content. When you combine what the AI is doing, AI is fantastic for coming up with ideas. So let's say these first chapter, you're like, okay, this is pretty good, but I think we should change and rewrite step 3 to do this or that. That's where the human being comes in, and that's where that AI super self comes into play. So we have the essential first chapter. Let's go ahead and have it help us create a book cover and give me the prompt I can use in text to image generators like Midjourney or DAO E. All right. So now I want a book cover, right? And let's see if the book we just created, and tell it to go ahead and create a prompt. So here's what's interesting about AI tools, right? You could say, I want a cover for this book, go. And it would try to create one. Or you could say, I actually want you to help me write the prompt that I'm going to give to another AI tool. So this is where you start building the foundational things that's in the Create PDF. By the way, I'm going to give you that tonight. So you'll get the replay of this whole session. You'll get the PDF. You'll get the books. And so I'll kind of give you all those details. So hang around till the end. I got some special stuff to give you tonight. So don't go anywhere. This is the prompt that we just had, and I could tell it, create the image from the prompt. right? ChatGPT has DAL-E built right into it. So it can create an image from a prompt. So let's go over here now. Let's go into this one is Leonardo. And I'm going to go in and feed that prompt that ChatGPT just created. I'm going to throw it in here and tell it to generate a book cover for me. And then I'm going to do the same thing in another tool. This is a platform called BuildBiz.ai, and it has a host of content creation tools. So I'm just going to grab one. It doesn't really matter. It has three of them actually. And let's go ahead and have it create the same prompt. Book cover format is kind of lengthwise, right? Vertical. So we'll change the thing here and we'll tell it to create an image for that. So let's see what ChatGPT came up with. The 5 steps to mastering AI. Not a bad thing, right? But you'll notice that the text is messed up here. This is common with DALL-E. DALL-E. It's just the nature of AI. Sometimes when it tries to generate something, it can have problems with fingers, it can have problems with text, and there's different ways you can clean it up. I use Canva a lot. Canva has a tool in it, I think it's the paid version, where it has what's it called, Magic Grab, where you can tell it to grab the text right off of that image, and you can easily go in and type and change it. It'll assign a font to it, and you can go ahead and edit it. If we have time later, I'll show you an example of cleaning that up. All right, let's see what our friend Leonardo came up with. Interesting. So I am paying for this. So when you generate, it uses coins. This is very common in image generators where it will have you pay. So this one is not bad, Mastering AI. I like the imagery. Again, the text is a little messed up. Very common in AI. This is the hyper realistic. I like that image. The guy, he's on the chart, the money going up, up, up. But again, some editing might be required to get the text. But all three of them, again, text to image. So it doesn't matter. As long as you know how to create a good prompt, you can create really, really good results. And so, for example, in the world of AI, right, there's lots of different ways to do this. For example, this same prompt that I just gave it here in ChatGPT, right? We go back. Whoops, sorry. Here we go. Let's go back here. So if I go back here and I gave this same prompt to the tool here, this AI sales coach in BuildBiz, I'm trying to show you that all of these AI large language models kind of function very similarly. So in the BuildBiz format, the tool that's like ChatGPT is this AI sales coach, where you can ask it any question, but it specializes in sales and marketing tools, right? So we want to cover for, in this one, I'll modify it because it doesn't have the history that we just had in that thread, right? A book we just created called The 5 Steps to Mastering AI, right? So we can tell it, hey, let's do that and tell it to go, right? So it's going to take that same prompt and it's going to write the prompt that we can then add to one of the other image creation tools anywhere. So the important thing is I wanted to show that you can write the prompt anywhere, right? And you can apply it anywhere. So once you get the skills, so again, it's creating an image, feature prompt, central image, a symbol. So it's writing out what a good prompt is, and your prompt can be long, right? So this is actually a pretty short prompt. So now if I go back to another one of the content creation, let's do scroll stopping images. So this one creates images based on a lot of different parameters. And what I like is, remember I mentioned that the prompt can be very long. So if you use this type of tool, and you just have to hit switches to turn things off. I want vivid colors, yes. I want clarity and simplicity, yes. Emotional appeal, use negative space, all the types of things that a prompt engineer would create, you can just do it by clicking the switch on and off. So you don't have to know how to do this. With the BuildBiz platform, you can just go in and put in entrepreneurs. That's my target, right? Remember, you got to know who your audience is. What type of image are you trying to get? Illustration, digital artwork, realistic, futuristic. What colors do you want to include? You can specify the colors, right? So if I take these out, it's just going to come up with something. And then I tell it to create the image. I took a prompt from the AI tool, and then I put it into the image generator. This is what I was talking about, where this same prompt produced a book cover in hyperrealistic AI, but in scroll stopping images, it created something that was more emotional and not necessarily, exactly what I want, because it's trying to interpret. But in this tool, you can say, okay, that wasn't quite what I was looking for. I'll give that a 1 star. So you're training the AI, the large language model, on what you like. So for example, this prompt here, design an app icon to capture your audience attention, AI crafted ads, stop them in their tracks. So for example, this prompt here, a church mural featuring African-American cherubs. That's the one above it, actually. Yeah, I grabbed this one here. So this one is showing the cherubs. And I had an artist that was creating a mural for a Black church, and she wanted some specific types of images. So we tried a couple of different prompts, and that's what we got. So scroll stopping image. This one was more about creating a prompt for a community-based nonprofit organization focused on. So this is what I like about the BuildBiz platform is you don't have to know coding. You just have to be able to write a good description in English. And I literally copied this paragraph from the website of the organization. So if you do have any kind of content that describes your business and what you want, you can put it in here and it'll create an image that fits. I wanted something to show students playing for the nonprofit, and that's what it came up with. So it's an emotional kind of reaction. So it does a really good job. Now, if I go back to hyper-realistic here, this one does a better job. I was creating a bunch of icons for the rebranding that I just went through for BuildBiz. So 5 steps of AI, right? Advantage. So these are all images that are pretty good. This one came out pretty close to perfect. The AI Business Blueprint, 90-day guide to mastering BuildBiz.ai, right? So this one, it did a really good job, and I should give it a 5 star for this one because it did a good job.